Well, I got it wrong, and I'm the first to admit it. I thought Donald Trump would make a bold move and go with Tulsi Gabbard as his running mate. But I realize he's actually made a bolder move going with J.D. Vance. I know many of the political pundits are telling you he made the safe move. I'm telling you he's made a bolder move. We'll talk about that, the opening night of the RNC, and, well, a couple other thoughts that I might have.
Let's get ready to rumble! You can't handle the truth. I'm surviving on the top of the line!
Hi, I'm Pastor Marty, and this is the Afternoon Drive. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, and once you are, smack the bell, click the word all. That'll give you a notification of my rants, my ravings, and my undeniably flawless reasonings. Hey, please like and share this video. Thank you so much for watching and being a part of the Afternoon Drive.
And I think we all can agree, whether people like him or they don't like him, in light of what happened to him on Saturday, he has proven to be one tough SOB.
That, of course, is Sean O'Brien. He is the president of the 1.3 million member Teamsters Union. And as far as I'm concerned, he had the keynote address at the RNC on Monday night. Some Republicans didn't quite know what to do. We've got big labor in the House. Yeah. And this is lining up with exactly why Donald Trump picked J.D. Vance. And I'm going to explain all that, so you're not going to want to miss this edition of the Afternoon Drive. The RNC last night was interesting as far as some of the people that were up on that stage. I have to confess, I never heard of Amber Rose. I'm sure my kids have all heard of Amber Rose. She's a TikTok influencer. She's done some videos, I guess, and some modeling. She's got 24 million followers. That's million with an on TikTok. And she stood up there and said, I was lied to. I was lied to by the left. I have been lied to by the Democrats. And she was there to make the case for Donald Trump. But understand who she's making the case to. TikTokers. She's making that case to a generation that doesn't watch cable news. They don't watch influencers like me or political commentators like me on platforms like YouTube or Rumble, and they don't listen to podcasts, but they do listen to people on TikTok, and she is speaking directly into that. She was so effective, and I thought she was a very good speaker, and her speech was only about 5-6 minutes long, that Van Jones over at CNN said, this is dangerous. This is dangerous for the Democrats, that she is speaking to a group and a demographic that the Democrats can't afford to lose. Well, they are losing. And last night, there were plenty of black males speaking on that RNC platform, and again, they are hemorrhaging black male voters from the DNC. A lot of everyday people. Trump rolled out the initiative last night that he is not going to place any taxes on tips earned for servers or doormen or delivery people. If you get a tip, it is tax-free. That is huge, huge, huge. So last night was dedicated to the everyman, the working man. Now, for weeks, we have had this guessing game. You know, who would Trump pick as a running mate? Bill O'Reilly. I can't believe he's still around. Bill O'Reilly has been advocating Donald Trump needs to pick Nikki Haley. Needs to pick Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley is, I don't like her either, but, he gets Nikki Haley, it's all over, it's done. It's all over anyway. It was really over at the debate, but the cherry on the sundae, and I hate to frame it within politics, but it's been 48 hours since the event, so now we can get political with it. Trump surviving an assassination attempt. As you heard the president of the Teamsters say, he is one tough SOB. It's over. Donald Trump has got this. The picking of J.D. Vance was not just you're hearing some pundits, even on our side, saying, well, this is Donald Trump setting the tone that he's not going to be surrounded by neocons anymore. He's not going to be surrounded by the career Republicans anymore that backstabbed him and were out to get him. Yeah, you mean like a Nikki Haley there, Bill O'Reilly? If Nikki Haley had been picked as Trump's running mate, she'd have smiled that big smile, or it's bad enough we're going to have to hear her speak at the RNC this week. She'd smile that big smile, and then first chance she got, she would knife him in the back. She would lead the charge for the third impeachment against Donald Trump and, step into the role as president that way. Nikki Haley is everything that's wrong with politics and establishment Republicanism. Nikki Haley, no, nay, bye-bye, goodbye, get lost. What J.D. Vance does, it's not just having somebody in Trump's inner circle that's going to be staunch and loyal and knows how to go out there and fight the good fight on behalf of Trump, which Trump did not have in his first term. That's obvious. I told you a year and a half into Trump's first term that Mike Pence was the enemy within. Some of you jumped straight down my throat. Then you all came back and apologized. What J.D. Vance does, and we now, after last night especially, we see the strategy. Going forward, Donald Trump doesn't want to simply dismantle that blue wall across the Rust Belt for this election cycle. Donald Trump wants the Republicans to become the party of labor, the Labor Party. Conceptually, Republicans have always seen themselves, conservatives have always seen themselves as the party of the middle class, the working class. They could never understand why they couldn't make real inroads there, how the Democrats got to be this party of the blue-collar working man when their values and the woke crapola that they're involved in is so anti-traditional values, but yet these Democrats just hang on there. That's right. And oftentimes they didn't understand that the tax and spend Democrats like Franklin Roosevelt and, raw deal Lyndon Johnson, that, they're creating programs to help, but all those programs have to be funded, and that funding is coming from the very people that they're supposed to be helping. Talk about a Ponzi scheme. But Republicans have been it's been very easy to portray them as the party of, quote, corporate America, the big corporations. And on the one hand, yeah, we get it. You got to have big business. You got to have rich people who can afford to hire working people. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. The problem is too many Republicans turned a blind eye to how corporate America really were economic terrorists. And Sean O'Brien hit on that in that speech. I mean, his speech was dynamic. It was powerful. And Donald Trump did something that was so transitional in 2016 that the Lindsey Grahams and the Mitch McConnell, who got booed yesterday, by the way, which was great, still haven't completely wrapped their head around. Donald Trump moved the Republican Party from being the war hawk party to we want a strong military. We want to have the best equipped military on the planet. And if they're ever needed, We want them to be able to go in and get the job done and do it with such force and such authority that there's no question. But we don't want to be policing the world. We don't want to be expanding NATO. We don't want to be involved in wars all over the globe. Lindsey Graham would have us at war with somebody all the time, perpetually to infinity and beyond. The John Boltons, all of them, got to go. Trump moved the Republican Party away from that. J.D. Vance is kind of almost like anti-war. He's definitely anti our policy is with Ukraine. Bump, ba-dum, bump. And this is huge. This is big. Trump is now moving the Republicans from saying, you know what, we can be for big business and we can be for corporate America and we can do that and be for the working man. See, the Democrats are supposed to be the working class party, but it was Joe Biden who crushed the railroad workers' strike. And we're going to find out from Sean O'Brien that there were Republicans who joined with the Teamsters to fight that fight that Joe Biden crushed. This is a game changer. This is another, Donald Trump is moving the Republican Party. He is going to take the working class union vote, the blue wall, the Rust Belt. He is going to make that red country for a generation to come. That's what this move with J.D. Vance is all about. Earlier in the day, Sean O'Brien was on with Neil Cavuto, who is certainly no Trump fan. And Neil was asking, well, why will you speak at the RNC convention? He said, well, why not? And he said, and he was singing the praises of J.D. Vance as being the VP pick. And when I heard the president of the Teamsters singing the praises of J.D. Vance, I said, I get it. I get the brilliance of what Donald Trump's done here. Joe Biden is cratering, and he cratered after that debate. Donald Trump is the hero with the iconic image, fist in the air, blood coming down the face, saying, fight! He's saying to American families, fight! And I'm going to fight with you. And we're going to get we're going to get inflation down. We're going to get your cost of living down. You're going to be able to afford groceries. You're going to be able to afford gasoline. I'm going to seal that border, and we're going to get your wages up. And there's J.D. Vance to go make that case across the Midwest, the Rust Belt. Because, see, Donald Trump's got one term left. J.D. Vance becomes the guy to pick up the mantle and take it for another 8 years beyond. Are you seeing the bigger picture here? So when that little nasal twit, Ben Shapiro, the fake conservative, wearing his little beanie, because he's got a virtue signal, talks about, well, they had the president of the Teamsters there, and I guess if you're trying to show this broad base that we welcome everybody in the Republican Party, I guess that was kind of okay, but, he's up there giving a speech that was, anti-corporation, anti-capitalist. There was nothing anti-capitalist about what Sean O'Brien said. What Sean O'Brien said was, you know what? Capitalism's a good thing. We need to keep our jobs here. We need factories to stay in the United States. We need everybody to make lots of money. That's pretty capitalist. What he is saying, though, is, hey, do one or two people in an organization who sit in an office all day and don't really do any of the work, are they the only ones that get to benefit and profit? Or can the people that are actually putting in the blood, sweat, and tears and the labor, do they get to share in the bounty too? Donald Trump is transitioning and transforming the Republican Party in a great way. It's going to be even bigger, badder, stronger. I'm telling you, after last night, Democrats are stepping back and they're going, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We got this doddering old fool that we can't get rid of now because there's no point, because you can't go up against the superhero. And they have placated so much to the woke agenda and to freakism that groups like the Teamsters are saying, we need a new home. We need somebody who's actually going to hear us and not just pat us on the head for our vote every 4 years, but will actually stand up. And when the railroad workers go on strike, will stand with us and not crush us and stand against us. It's a brilliant move by Donald Trump. I've told you before, this guy plays 4D chess. I'm going to wrap this up with Sean O'Brien's speech. If you didn't see it, and I'm not saying as a conservative that I agreed with everything he said, but I agreed with the passion of it. I agreed with the vision of it. Now, it's about a 17, 18-minute speech. We've edited it down for time constraints to about 12 minutes. But it's well worth the watch. It's well worth the watch. And trust me, don't think that old hardline Democrats didn't say last night when they heard about the president of the Teamsters addressing the Republicans and giving a raucous speech that was very well received. Don't think that old line Democrats didn't sit back and go, we are so over.
I'm Sean O'Brien, General President of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. I also want to thank President Donald Trump for opening the RNC's doors to the Teamsters Union and inviting me to speak before you tonight. And I don't care about getting criticized. It's an honor to be the first Teamster in our 121-year history to address the Republican National Convention. Several months ago, I asked the RNC and the DNC for the opportunity to speak. To be frank, when President Trump invited me to speak at this convention, there was political unrest on the left and on the right. Hard to believe. Anti-union groups demanded the president rescind his invitation. The left called me a traitor. And this is precisely why it's so important for me to be here today. Think about this. Think about this. The Teamsters are doing something correct if the extremes in both parties think I shouldn't be on this stage. President Trump had the backbone to open the doors to this Republican convention, and that's unprecedented. No other nominee in the race would have invited the Teamsters into this arena. Now, you can have whatever opinion you want, but one thing is clear. President Trump is a candidate who is not afraid of hearing from new, loud, and often critical voices. And I think we all can agree, whether people like him or they don't like him, in light of what happened to him on Saturday, he has proven to be one tough SOB. the presidency of the Teamsters in a national election 2.5 years ago, we started reaching across the aisle. In the past, the Teamsters have endorsed GOP candidates, including Nixon, Reagan, and George H.W. Bush. But over the last 40 years, the Republican Party has really pursued strong relationships with organized labor. There are some in the party who stand in active opposition to labor unions. This, too, must change. And I want to be clear. At the end of the day, the Teamsters are not interested if you have a D, R, or an I next to your name. We want to know one thing. What are you doing to help American workers? As a negotiator, I know that no window or door should ever be permanently shut. In my administration, the Teamsters reached out to 8 Republican senators who stood up for railroad Teamsters over our fight for paid sick leave. Josh Hawley was one of them. We started talking. Senator Hawley changed his position on national right to work. Then we started walking. Senator Hawley walked a Teamsters picket line in St. Louis and a UAW picket line in Wentzville, Missouri. More than that, I want to recognize Senator Hawley for his direct, relentless, and pointed questioning of corporate talking heads, lawyers, CEOs, and apologists. He has shown he is not willing to accept their pillaging of working people's pocketbooks. I know from a career in negotiating that you get nowhere by slamming your fist on the table. The first step is to listen. The Teamsters and the GOP may not agree on many issues, but a growing group has shown the courage to sit down and consider points of view that aren't funded by big money think tanks. Senators like J.D. Vance, Roger Marshall, and Representatives Nicole Malliotakis, Mike Lawler, and Brian Fitzpatrick are among elected officials who truly care about working people. And this group is expanding. In my office in Washington, D.C., I can see the United States Capitol from my window. I see well-intentioned people arrive in Washington and get eaten up by an unforgiving system. The responsibility to average Americans takes a back seat. The objective now becomes survival. Fundraiser after fundraiser, corporate consultants hedge every initiative. The Hill crawls with lifers, bouncing from government jobs to corporate jobs and back again. I think we can all agree D.C. is a pretty treacherous area. Most legislation is never meant to go anywhere, and it's all talk. And in America, talk isn't cheap. It's very expensive, and it comes at the cost of our own country. The men and women who provide goods and services, deliver packages, stock grocery shelves, care for patients, pick up your trash, and keep our communities safe are taken for granted. All the while, the stock market booms, housing prices hit record highs, and corporate salaries skyrocket. But the income of everyday Americans are shrinking in the face of inflation. At the gas pumps, at the grocery store, with the electrical bill, and with the car insurance. This has got to change. Never forget, American workers own this nation. We are not renters. We are not tenants. But the corporate elite treat us like squatters, and that is a crime. We've got to fix it. Now, this will shock you. This will shock you. To paraphrase Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, it's time for both sides of Congress to stand their butts up. We need trade policies that put American workers first. It needs to be easier for companies to remain in America. We need legal protections that make it safer for workers to get a contract. We must stop corporations from abandoning local communities to inflate their bottom line. We need meaningful bankruptcy reform. Today, corporate vultures buy up companies like Yellow Freight with the intent of driving them into bankruptcy and feasting on their remains. The courts leave workers begging for crumbs as third-tier creditors. Labor law must be reformed. Americans vote for a union but can never get a union contract. Companies fire workers who try to join unions and hide behind toothless laws that are meant to protect working people but are manipulated to benefit corporations. This is economic terrorism at its best. An individual cannot withstand such an assault. A fired worker cannot afford corporate delays, and these greedy employers know it. There are no consequences for the company, only the worker. We need corporate welfare reform. Under our current system, massive companies like Amazon, Uber, Lyft, and Walmart take zero responsibilities for the workers they employ. These companies offer no real health insurance, no retirement benefits, no paid leave, relying on underfunded public assistance. And who foots the bill? The individual taxpayer. The biggest recipients of welfare in this country are corporations, and this is real corruption. We must put workers first. What could be more important to the security of our nation than a long-term investment in the American worker? In 2021, Teamsters nationwide elected me to fight for them, and that's precisely what I'm doing. Something is wrong in this country, and we need to say it out loud. I will always speak for America and the American worker, both union and non-union. I challenge each and every one of you, and especially my friends on the Democratic side, to embrace cooperation, to truly collaborate, to achieve meaningful and productive change, to ensure we make this great nation in this world the bigger, faster, and strongest nation in the entire world. I love this country. The Teamsters love this country. Our 1.3 million members move America on the roads, in the ports, on the rail, and in the air. And at the end of the day, if the powers to be stop me from raising my voice on behalf of American workers, I will not have one single regret. I still carry my commercial driver's license. I still have my place on the union seniority list. You'll find me back in Boston driving a tractor-trailer, delivering equipment for Shaughnessy and Ahern, because I have the protection of a union contract that gives me the freedom to speak my mind and to fight like hell. God bless the greatest nation. Thank you very much.